Some cars are just appliances. They get you from A to B, and that's it. But then you see a car like this. This isn't just a car, it's a statement. It's a whole journey crafted out of carbon fiber. Today, we're diving into the story of a truly one-of-a-kind Toyota Supra and the guy who poured everything he had into making it real. And you heard the man himself, Hunter Ensley. This was never about just slapping on some cool parts. For him, this was about creating something that screamed his style, pushing his own vision to the absolute max. And what a statement it is. Seriously, let this sink in. This isn't just another modified Supra. What you're looking at is the world's first, the very first MKV Supra to ever wear a complete, all-carbon fiber Pandem widebody kit. That one fact alone puts this build in a league of its own. So yeah, a dream in carbon fiber. This is the story of how Hunter Ensley took his 2021 Supra and turned it into a one-of-one masterpiece that's now known all over the world. A build this insane doesn't just happen, It's the end result of years of passion, of learning, and some pretty major life changes. So where does a journey like this even kick off? Well, it starts with a soldier who got bit by the stance bug. Hunter's story has this amazing contrast, right? On one hand, you've got his super disciplined life in the US Army, but on the other, he finds this world of total creative freedom in the car scene after hours. He got completely hooked by these wild, slammed-to-the-ground builds at shows like Slammed Enough, and that's what pushed him to get his first project car, a Hyundai Genesis Coupe. And from there, things just took off. He goes to Import Alliance, and suddenly his eyes are open to this whole other level of quality. He found some amazing mentors, like John Bowman, who showed him the ropes on getting that show-quality finish, and Mike Blackman, whose full Carbon 370Z basically planted the seed for this whole carbon fiber dream. So when his military contract was up, he hit a crossroads, and he chose Adventure Man. He took a job overseas specifically to fund the insane build he knew he had to create. So picture this. He sold his old projects, he's working overseas, but that builder's itch, it just came roaring back. And that's when the perfect car, the perfect platform just dropped out of the sky and changed all his plans. The Supra was definitely calling. He'd been saving up for a Nissan GT-R. Godzilla, right? But then, Toyota unveils the new MKV Supra. And it was just one of those I have to have it moments, He and his buddy Mike were watching the reveal over and over until Mike just turned to him and said, "Dude, get the Supra." And just like that, the GT-R was ancient history. So when Hunter got back to the States, he picks up his brand new nocturnal black Supra. And what's the first thing he does? He doesn't tear it apart. Nope. He just drove it for 3,000 miles. He went on a road trip from Florida all the way to Texas just to get to know the car, to really understand it inside and out before he touched a single bolt. Now that is dedication. But come on, let's be real. That stock phase was never going to last. Like Hunter says, and like we all know, that itch to modify is just way too strong. You can bet his search history filled up with aftermarket parts pretty darn quick. And that brings us to the main event, forging a one-of-one. This wasn't about adding a couple of parts here and there. This was about bringing a single, focused vision to life. The mission? A full carbon fiber showstopper. Let's just run through the highlight reel here because the parts list is a masterclass. The absolute centerpiece is that world-first Carbon Pandem kit, but every single part was chosen for a reason. You've got the classic Workmeister wheels. They're three-piece, which means you can build them with a crazy deep dish to perfectly fill out those massive flares. You've got the airlift suspension to get that perfect ground-scraping stance whenever you want, and a Boost Logic titanium exhaust to make sure it sounds as wild as it looks. The vision is so locked in, it even carries over to all the carbon accents inside. All right, so the car is finally done. It's time for the big reveal. The stage is set at the Super Lap Battle and Just Vibes car show. This is it, the moment of truth where all that blood, sweat, and money gets put to the test. And the reaction? It was everything he could have hoped for, and more. The second he aired out the suspension, that psh sound as the car drops to the pavement, the whole place just stopped. Photographers, judges, other builders, they were just in total awe. And think about it. That had to be a huge full-circle moment for Hunter, who used to be the guy in the crowd looking up at everyone else's cars. But you know how it is. For a real builder, a project is never really finished. After a debut that epic, you'd think maybe he'd chill for a bit. Nope.
Hunter's already deep into planning the next evolution for this monster.
And his to-do list is just as bonkers as the original build. He wants a massive power bump, aiming for somewhere between 600 and 800 horsepower. He wants to get the car to SEMA. He's talking racing seats, a half cage, and somehow more carbon fiber. It just goes to show you, for a true builder, you're always chasing that next level. You know, this Supra started out as just one guy's dream, but it's become so much more. It's a benchmark now. It's a world's first. It's a physical representation of a journey from the military to the absolute top of the show car scene. So it kind of leaves you with one big question, right? At what point does a passion project like this stop being just a car and start becoming a legacy?